is Mackenzie. Hey, this is Owen. Don't forget to like our show and subscribe.
This podcast is brought to you by the Love and Kindness Project Foundation. What is one thing that you could do to think, speak, or act kindly today? Go to loveandkindnessproject.org to learn more. If you want to continue the conversation from the show, check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/wearetheADHD Family. Or if you're on Spotify, answer the poll question. The episode starts at 1 minute, 15 seconds. Or just hit your fast forward button once or twice. Did you know that the last residential school in Canada closed in 1996? To learn more, go to nctr.ca and challenge yourself to go beyond a land acknowledgement. Welcome to We Are the ADHD Family podcast. This podcast is meant to chronicle our journey with ADHD, autism, and other discoveries along the way. I reach out to advocates, experts, individuals, and other families that want to raise their voices and empower those on their journey. My name is Mark Smeets. I am married to Siobhan, a parent to 2 wonderful kids, and all of us have ADHD. I want you to feel like you have power and hope. So on the weekend, I went to Costco to buy some Q-tips. Brought them home, unpacked everything, and could have swore I brought them up from the garage, took it out of the pack, and left them on the fireplace to bring upstairs for later. So that was yesterday, Sunday. Today is Monday, as I'm recording this. And as I was cleaning things up, and this morning I asked my wife, where's the Q-tips that I left on the fireplace, because she went through a massive cleanup job downstairs. I thought she took things upstairs. She's like, I haven't seen any. Okay, so I just spent like the past 30 minutes trying to find them up here, thinking that maybe I did put them up here. Nope. Looked in the living room area. Nothing there, nothing in the kitchen. Just going, okay, forget this. Went down to the garage to get the second pack, figuring the first pack will show up eventually, and grabbed the second pack, and then turned around, and there it was sitting on the air hockey table that was in the garage the entire time. The struggle is real, people. Seriously. This is going to be interesting, because I am completely out of my comfort zone right now. And welcome to an episode of We Are the ADHD Family podcast, and you obviously can see me. So I am going to do my very best to stream this and try something different. And basically the whole episode is going to be about random. And every so often I love to do the random stuff because it gives you guys a good little update on things, and maybe there's something I've learned that I can share. Anyways, so I got, 4 things I think I need to talk about? I need to bring up my list. See, there's one difference between doing just the audio version and the video version is that I usually have sort of all my notes right in front of me right away. I kind of read off of that sometimes. So 4 things. This is a big week for our advocacy group, the ADHD Advocacy Society of BC. We have a conference on Thursday, and I forgot the dates, what they were. The 19th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd of October of 2023. And that's called Advocon. And it's put on by a very good friend of ours, Tracy Humphreys, who runs another advocating group called BC Ed Access. And they are like, I don't know, I'm just going to not pump her tires, but to me, it's the authority on education in BC and in terms of being accessible and inclusive. I just think everything, what Tracy does is just absolutely amazing and astounding, and we love her. I love her. She's awesome. So that's our big focus. So our group has been getting ready for that, and it's going to be pretty cool, I think. How many people I have no idea how many people are going to show up to this thing. It's a conference. We'll have a table there, and by the time you're hearing this episode, which is going to be next week, because this will be released on the 23rd, the conference will be over. But anyways, this is before it all happens, and I'll probably have some thoughts and things that go on, and we'll go from there. But part of the reason I'm also doing the episode is because the way things have just been very busy, and I haven't had a chance to work on the episode of ADHD and work. And despite my best intentions, I cannot split myself into multiple things. So, you can't clone Mark, and I'm not sure the world is ready for that yet. Anyhow, so that's one of the big ones for us. Part of the reason for us getting involved with Advocon is also because our advocacy group was awarded a contract by the BC government, specifically the Ministry of Children and Family Development, through what's known as CYSN, or Children of Youth and Support Needs, to engage with families that are ADHDers and get their experience and take that information back to government and collect the information where we can and in what communities that we can get to. And it's a really, really cool project. I think it's going to take about 2 years to do or so, but it's very, very neat. So that's one thing that's going on. The other one was, as far as the update in the sensory swim side of things, I'm still waiting to hear back. Well, I'm still waiting to hear back. I'm waiting to hear back from the city as far as what's going on with the progress that they've made, because it's been about 2 weeks or so since I've heard from the city manager. And hopefully by the 23rd, by the time you're hearing this, I'll actually be able to tell you something more. But what I did have happen is I had another media company, which was Global TV, Global News, reach out to me and want to do an interview with me, and I did. Did it Saturday morning. I had Owen with me, and it was fun, and it was something I was really excited and looking forward to. So here is what my thought on this was. When I was doing the interview, I was excited. I was nervous a little bit as well. Before I left the house, I started going over my presentation just to line up my memory and everything with what I had, just trying to remember certain things on certain slides. So if the reporter, because the reporter had already seen the presentation, if he had his question about a specific thing, he could narrow in on that. So as we went through this, the thing that I noticed is I know I talk with my hands, and you can see that right now through the camera. It's kind of funny. I do it all the time. I can't help it. But one thing I do struggle with, and now I'm just realizing this is an asking thing, but before I dive into that too much, is eye contact. And this is where I wonder about the autistic side of things on my end. But I know in Owen's case, like Owen's eye contact's hit or miss. My eye contact is hit or miss, to be honest. And there are a couple little repetitive things that I do, but it's... When I was talking with the reporter and doing the interview itself, I had my phone in my hand, and for those that can see, I've just got my cell phone here, and the reporter's got me on the phone. I did make a comment that, you know what, why don't you call me back on my phone and I can use my AirPods and I don't have to hold this phone, but for whatever reason, that didn't work. And so as we're doing the interview, I'm trying to listen to what's being said. I've got the camera in front of me, and I realized that when I was coming up with the answers and thinking about things as I normally do, again, it's struggling with that eye contact. But when I think where I'm not even sure how to describe it, but it's like almost like I think with my head as it moves kind of deal, kind of like my hands. My whole body's animated. but it is a tricky little thing. And the cameraman kept sort of trying to bring my focus back, my eye focus that is, back to the camera and him. And it was okay. We did the interview for about 15 minutes or so, 10 or 15, and the whole segment ended up being about 1 minute and 23 seconds. So I actually took the footage. I gave Owen my phone, and I turned him into a cameraman. So he shot some behind the scenes footage as the interview was going on. And that was fun. That was really cool to look back and realize that he's filming me with my iPhone. And then you see yourself on TV. So he made it on TV as well. They got some what's called B-roll footage. That's just alternate footage from the main footage that you're getting of us walking into the pool. And that was a really cool moment. So the thing, just going back to that eye contact thing for a second though, the eye contact makes me uncomfortable. I'm not sure what it is. This has been my life for the most part. And in our Facebook group, or in the Facebook group that I'm in, one of them for ADHD at least, I thought about, I wanted to post the experience because I was curious to know what people thought. And so basically this is essentially what I wrote, because somebody came back to me. Actually, a couple people came back with some really good pieces of advice. And, I just thought it'd be interesting to share because it does have me thinking about autism. And it does have me thinking about accessibility in the media. And if, for those of us that are neurodivergent, it's not fair to expect us to look into the camera all the time. Let me read the post first before I go too far into this. So the post goes, so I've had an interesting 2 days. I had a spur-of-the-moment interview with Global about the sensory swim times yesterday being the Saturday. During the interview, the cameraman kept redirecting my eyes and focus to the camera. As he said, when people watch TV, they may wonder what I'm looking at. I've got an iPhone in one hand with a reporter asking me questions and a camera ahead of me that I had to look into. I also tried looking into the camera lens, and that was just weird. I know that I talk with my hands, but I also struggle with eye contact. When I think of answers and talk, I know I look at other things. It's how I process. This got me thinking about kids/adults that are autistic that may not look at you when they speak to you, but that doesn't mean that they're not listening. We wouldn't force them to make eye contact. But it has me thinking about news stories, about how the news stories are done and how that quote unquote look at the camera isn't exactly neurodiverse friendly. I know this is not going to be my last interview, and it may take practice and effort to work through this, or maybe I just need to rethink a whole different approach. But I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I was uncomfortable or not, but part of me wants to say that I was uncomfortable. The other part of me isn't sure. I just know it has me thinking and trying to process that moment. And so I also took the extra footage that Owen shot and put it on the Facebook page for We Are the ADHD Family. So here's a couple of the really cool things that I got, other than some amazing, you did a great job, to which I love these people for that. That's good. So I know there's the AI technology where people can correct where your eye is looking, your eye contact is. If it looks like you're looking off camera, it will redirect your eyes somehow, which is just weird. And as this person said, it's definitely a neurotypical culture. It's not affirmative in the ND sense at all. Another friend of mine who's done other media interviews says, her trick is to look beyond beyond them, basically, and she tries to find something to focus on a little to the side of where they are, or they look at their mouth. For her, it's just enough. That I was trying to do as I was doing the interview, but interestingly enough, I just, maybe it's because it is something that is so near and dear to me. I don't know. But anyways, there's another one that really got me. And I'm really glad that she said this. But I'll read the post verbatim. So, that's so ridiculous. Have they never watched any sports interview with athletes? Those dudes often look at the camera or the interviewer when they talk. Or sorry, they don't look at the camera or interviewer when they talk. I would have just said, listen, I'm neurodivergent. If you want to interview me, expect that I'm not going to do neurotypical things. Take it or leave it. And be prepared to walk away from any opportunity, quote unquote, that requires you to conform with discomfort. Just nope. And I love it. I do. I absolutely love it. I think just seeing that aspect of things and thinking about it is there you go. That it helps a lot. But like I said before, it's not going to be my last interview. It'll be really interesting to see what happens with to see where this goes and other things I'll end up in the media about, because I do really enjoy it. One thing I will fully admit to, though, is that this is a skill. Going out and talking and doing these things, I do love it. Believe me, I love it. You need to practice it. It's practice. It's getting the little things that are in your mind sort of set up and practicing trying to keep your focus on those points and not letting the squirrels, so to speak, take over and put yourself down a tangent, and try not to give, if you've got the example in your brain of what you're sticking with, stick with that path and work on it that way. So anyways, there's eye contact in the media for you. But that's partly why I wanted to do this video version and just try something different, take me out of my comfort zone a second time and talk to myself. I'm looking at myself in the screen and other places and at the camera, which is just right there. And so I was curious to see how that would go on and how that would work. Another cool thing, we'll do an update on the Owen front. So tomorrow, my wife and I have a meeting at the school for what's called the IEP meeting. And that is the integrated, my gosh, my brain is just blanked out. And I swear I cannot remember what IEP stands for. Individualized Education Plan. Anyways, this is a big deal for a lot of people here in the province, in our province here in BC. So it's a process that helps guide, develop, and document things for kids that are on the spectrum or have certain requirements in school. And really, there's only a few ways that you can actually get an IEP. It is a little messed up because, and I found this out a few years ago prior to Owen's diagnosis, is that what people will call an IEP may also be called I think it's student support plan. And you don't need the ministry designation of autism or what have you to get that. But the problem is that the SSP, which anybody could get, and SSP is the acronym that we use for that. The problem is that those student support plans, they don't come with any funding at all. But the IEPs, once you have your designation from the ministry, that does come with funding. So that's why they're a big deal. Think of it as I don't know if contract's the right word, but it's kind of like a contract between, you, like the family and the school district and the government to say, this is what we're going to do to make sure that your child succeeds, essentially. That's essentially what the focus is for that. So it's tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, on the 17th at 9. And I'm not too sure what to think or how to quite prepare for things. His teacher is just absolutely wonderful. It just happens to be his grade 2 teacher, or grade 1 teacher rather. And we love her. She is just an awesome human. She completely gets it. She gets him. Owen and her have an absolutely fantastic relationship. And it's really good. It's definitely a big win for this year, because we were concerned. We didn't know what to expect going into the year, and seeing how she's fought for him, and that the three of us, like my wife, me, and her, have been on the same page, have been phenomenal. So that's pretty cool. But I'll document the IEP process, because everybody goes through something different with that. And I find it interesting that I don't know. I feel like I should be more prepared for it, but I don't know. It'll definitely be very interesting.
Here is the 20-second kindness break.
Mackenzie, when you go back to school, what is one kind act that you want to do?
Help my teacher.
Owen, when you go back to school, what is one kind act that you can do?
Like listening when she's talking.
Hi, this is Siobhan from the Love and Kindness Project Foundation. Check out loveandkindnessproject.org and find other ways to carry out kind acts or start a kindness project of your own.
Okay, so the last thing that's on my list, actually, to talk about is weight. And for those that, I don't think I mentioned this in the previous episodes, or I may have at some point, but so if you followed my Instagram, you know, for a few years, you'd know that I made a big deal about my triathlon, and I documented a lot of my journey, documented a lot of my weight loss journey as well. And I'm wearing my triathlon shirt as well. So what I find to be, what is really hard for me is, again, because I was diagnosed, 46 or something, having the running, like when I go and do laps in the pool, again, pre-meds, I did not like having all the continuous running thoughts. I wanted my brain to shut up. Sometimes I just want my brain to shut up for other things. But in the pool, it's really annoying because, you really can't, you lose track of where you are in the laps and stuff like that. Actually, what I can do, though, is I'm going to plug something really cool. There is a Vancouver company that makes goggles, and they're called Form, and they have an LED display in their goggles, and you can switch it to whatever eyepiece you want, right or left. And so you can count your laps, your speed. There's so many metrics on this. It's disgustingly awesome. I love it so much. I love these goggles. Anyways, that has been a massive, massive help, because as you're doing something like, if you're in a 25-meter pool and you're doing, 400 meters or 300 or 200 meters, whatever, honest to God, you're going to sit there and go, I'm on what lap? Oh, crap. I was thinking about, bacon bits. And that's what happens to me in the pool. Or you begin to think about something else and you lose count of where you are. I had a notepad with me in the pool with my workout, and I would say, I've done this one, I've done this one, I've done this one, and I just hated it. But honest to God, the Form goggles, it made all the difference. It really did, because it counts those things for you, and it's you don't need, if you were to consider buying them, this is completely random. This is totally random on this part. If you're thinking about, hey, I should get those for when I go swimming, you know what? Get the goggles. Don't bother with the plan. Just get it so you can count laps, and worry about the plan side of things later on. Like maybe you do decide to sit there and train for something, but the having something that counts your laps to tell you what distance you've done and all that, it is incredibly reassuring. I love them. I can't say enough good things about them, so do that. I think I want there to be a version for kids available, because for someone like me, when I was a kid swimming and being competitive, I would have coaches sit there and keep track of that stuff for us. I wouldn't know what sort of was going on or how fast I was even going. But that's what the wonderful thing is with these goggles. It keeps track of all that stuff for you. And this is where I want to see kids who are swimming now head to. I want them to see that information, because coaches, I don't know, a lot of swim coaches can do a much better job coaching. Anyways, I've digressed from there. But the reason I'm bringing this up is, as I was doing my triathlon training, the one thing that I have in my head, aside from everything being repeated constantly and so forth, and random things and thoughts, in my head, when I think about my body image is rooted in, I don't know, it's rooted in definitely negativity. And so regardless of the one phrase I have is from when I started dropping weight, I think my waist is like 44 inches or 45 inches, whatever. And I had this little hashtag that I came up with, was 44 to 34, because I went from a size 44 pant to a size 34 pant. And it took me a couple years to do it. But what I didn't do, I don't want to be too hard on myself, because that's not the point. But what I'm doing now is I am going after that negative, it's not self-talk, there's something else. No matter what I would have done to be thinner, or whatever the right weight for me was, I would have not, I can't see myself as thin. And it's not that I'm comparing myself to, say, like Hugh Jackman or Chris Hemsworth or somebody like that. It isn't about that. It is, I don't know why this happens. I've never liked it. It has messed with my self-esteem. It messes with my body image. It just drains you. So I began to, I've had one meeting. She is a counselor, but she's looks at the relationship between you and food. And a couple things for me that I know have affected me and my relationship with food, certainly ADHD. And if I think about my grandma, or rather my Oma and Opa, on both sides of my family, because we're Dutch. So all my grandparents were impacted by World War II, Holland especially, because of what the Nazis came in and took over Holland. So one of my Omas fought in the Dutch resistance, and I had another set of grandparents that escaped the Nazis as well. So when I was growing up, Oma would say to us, me and my brother, don't leave that plate of food unfinished. People will kill for that. And I completely understand now. Like, I understand why she said that. But back as a child, I didn't have the context that I had now. And so it's not something as a kid that I wanted to be exposed to. I didn't want to be exposed to that, I guess. Not that I didn't want. I don't know what the word is. I don't know what the phrase I'm trying to use is. Being exposed to that was really hard, and so when your brain is bouncing around all these different things, all these different uncontrolled thoughts, and as a kid, you have no idea that this is even a thing. ADHD, that is. The wrong body image that you have of yourself, especially with what, you see in the media growing up, whether it was G.I. Joe, Transformers, wrestling, all that kind of stuff. Like, these things mess with your head and you don't even realize it. So just as a funny little aside, like Owen's talked about having a six-pack. That's what girls want. And we're like, no, dude, that's not what girls want. They don't, it's not about the six-pack. So he's kind of got that piece going for him as well. But this is my wife and I are just far more aware of it. Anyways, so the person I started speaking with, she sent me an article the other week after our first session. And it was basically about how all these systems are inherently racist, or messed up in some sort of way. They're rooted in the patriarchy. And there's, even though we use the phrase diet culture, this article essentially it isn't so much about the bulimia or the anorexia. It's the whole thing is this diet culture. You have to look a certain way to sit there and fit in or what have you. So that's my big thing that I'm going to start to tackle next, because even though I had done so much in weight loss, and you can say that, you lost 50 pounds or 80 pounds, and it's not the first time in my life I've done it, I don't feel worth it. I don't feel worthy. And it's a really crappy feeling to know that no matter what you do, you're not good enough. And it isn't fun at all. It's the worst. The name of the article, and I'm going to look this up as we're doing this, is, that's my mail, but it's really important. It was an article on body positivity. Where did it go? It's on Medium, and it is about, I'm going to link to it in the show notes. It's an actor and activist named Matt McGorry, and he was on a show called Orange is the New Black. It's a long read, I'm not going to lie to you. It was written May 21st, 2020. But I'll tell you, going through that, I definitely felt seen. I definitely saw myself in a lot of this article and a lot of the things that came up with it. So I am going to go with this and see what I can do about, I don't know if I don't want to say repairing the damage in my brain. I want to see what I can do about building a far more positive structure in my head as I'm going through and exercising, because I haven't really exercised for like a year, to be quite honest. So the way I like an exercise to at this point is it's almost like addiction. And in order for me to stay sort of satisfied that I've done enough, that I'm not a failure in some way, is I almost need like AA meetings or NA meetings or something like that. Acronym wise, AA is Alcoholics Anonymous, NA is Narcotics Anonymous. One's for alcohol, one's for drugs. But anyways, it is very interesting that this is the right time to do it. I've become so self-aware now of these things that I want to set my life for the better and not have to feel so not worth it. And I don't want my kids to go through that either. I don't want our daughter, I don't want Mackenzie to sit there and look at Disney princesses and look at these ultra thin characters that I don't want to see that affect her. Same with my son. I don't want him to fall into that trap that a lot of guys do of, you need muscles, you need this. Like, no, please don't. I want you to be happy and content with yourselves. And I'm going to try and document as much as the journey as I can on this. So it'll make a lot more sense to do that. And yeah, so there you go. That's there's the episode of Random. And I am splitting this thing into 2 parts because I was not expecting to ramble on for 32 minutes or 35 minutes. And yeah, this has been super interesting, but with so much going on, I just wanted to make sure that I documented something along the way. And even though it's not a full-fledged episode sort of deal, it's just life steps in and other amazing things are going on. So I want to go with that, and it allows me to be present as well. But yeah, no shortage of action there. So that's it. Wherever you are in this world, have yourself a amazing day, night. Treat yourself kindly. And you know what? Small acts of kindness go a long way. And the work that we do as advocates, and even if you call yourself just a parent, you are affecting change. And it is a big deal. And it's a very big deal to talk about it too. So keep up the fight and stay positive. You're valued, and keep it up.
Thank you for listening to our show.
If you're hearing this message, you've reached the end of the episode, and for that, I want to say thank you. I hope you have enjoyed what you've heard and are walking away with newfound knowledge.
We are the ADHD Family.
See you soon for a new episode. If you want to be a guest on the show or know someone who would make a great guest, contact me through our Facebook page. This podcast is open to everyone. You don't need to be an expert, just passionate and want to see change. The opinions expressed by the host and guest are not associated with any employer or organization unless otherwise stated.